All right, Jesse on Fire, welcome back to the channel. So we are going to talk about Sean O'Malley today. So we're going to do two segments to this particular video. First, we're going to talk about the interaction that Sean O'Malley had with Ben Askren. And then we're going to have a whole session about Sean O'Malley's superstar status. Just who he is, what he's doing with Chito Vera, what's next, all of that stuff. But if you like the content, subscribe and ring the bell, do it. And by the way, there is a banger video on Jesse on Everything. Maybe one of the best videos I've ever done, ever. Across anything that I've ever done, period. It is fire. And it's about global domination, and you are not going to find a more interesting video, I don't know, like ever. So, but anyway, all right, so let's talk about this interaction that Sean O'Malley had with Ben Askren, because it was fascinating and hilarious. Because so if you look at Ben Askren and Sean O'Malley, right, you're like, okay, well, which of these two is the smart one? Also, not even just smart, like which of these two is a more pragmatic fighter, right? Like someone who's really thinking through longevity in their career, overall health, and just not falling into a trap of like just being an imbecile and pretending like you have to act tough because you're a professional fighter. Like, you fight in a cage for a living, okay? You don't need to prove anything to anyone, right? If you've ever gotten in the octagon, especially if you're an active UFC fighter, the idea that there are people in the UFC who are pansies is ridiculous, right? So if you fall into a trap like that, that would make you kind of an idiot, right? So which of the two would you think is a more pragmatic fighter or has a more pragmatic approach to their career? You would, of course, think Ben Askren, right? Like he's a smart guy, right? He pretends, he's like, he pretends, but he's really smart, right? Like that's what we think. Like he's a smart guy. And Sean O'Malley, I still think of myself as undefeated, so, but I'm not really that smart. Or maybe I am, because you're paying me to watch this video, I don't know, maybe I am smart, I don't know. So obviously, if you asked 100 people prior to this, interaction, which I bet you most of you guys have not even really thought about, but prior to this interaction, I bet you if you asked 100 people, 100 of them would say Ben Askren is the more pragmatic person as it relates to their career, right? Okay, so here's the interaction that we're talking about, though. So Ben Askren goes on, one of these podcasts, and he's talking about that Sean O'Malley got taken out on a stretcher. And he's like, how could you it's a fist fight, man. It's a fist fight. How are you going to let him take you out on a stretcher? Like, I don't care what it is, man. It's a fist fight. I don't care. I'm getting myself to the locker room. I am not getting on a gurney no matter what. I'm not getting on a gurney to go back to the locker room. He's like, it's ridiculous. Like, you get yourself back to the locker room. No matter what, you don't need a gurney. Come on, man. Come on, Sean. Come on. And I heard that, and because I'm an immature moron, that made sense to me. When I heard Askren say it, I was like, yeah, that's true. Like, he really should have toughed that out, Should have just gotten to the locker room. I obviously was not doing a lot of deep thinking on this when I listened to it the first time, because I was kind of like, yeah, he should have got there, that makes sense. I think that at a certain point, you also just kind of defer to people who have they're like, one of us is a UFC fighter. One of us is just some guy who talks about UFC fighters, right? You would think, generally, I should probably defer to him, especially given that he's a smart guy. He's a smart guy. And then I heard Sean O'Malley's response, and I was like, Ben Askren's a moron. And I'm a moron that I, even in my light listening, that I even moderately agreed with that, because it's so dumb. It's so dumb, okay? So Sean O'Malley's like, hang on. He's like, so you realize that I missed 2 years with a foot injury that I needed foot surgery for, right? He's like, if I have the option of hobbling on my foot and potentially doing more damage, which could lead to an additional year off or more surgery, or they're like, here's a device with wheels that we can get you to the back with so you don't have to walk on it, what moron wouldn't take the wheels? And I was like, correct. Like, you win, it's like, oh, well, Ben Askren, he's the prosecutor and he gave his best, opening argument. And then the defense attorney came over the top of him and you were like, I can't believe I even entertained that idiotic argument. Like, it's so stupid. It's so stupid. Like, it is so stupid. Especially, it would be stupid even if it wasn't for the fact that O'Malley had all these foot problems that he had to battle with. But especially given that, that position is so laughably idiotic. I bet you if you ask Ben Askren now, I bet you if Ben Askren read, or when Ben Askren read Sean O'Malley's statement, I bet you that behind closed doors he's like, yeah, he's probably right. He's probably right. I don't think that would be the hill that you would want to die on, right? Like, no. You need to risk the surgery so that the world can see you walk out of that cage, even though you just fought in it and got knocked unconscious. Like, you can't let them think that you're soft. So you got to hobble your ass back to the locker room. That's what you need to do. And you need to do it and let them all see you do it. Take the year off if you have to. Don't let them see you cry. So dumb. But yeah, that's basically what I've got on that particular issue. So now let's move on to the next part, because Sean O'Malley just keeps on putting out content and he keeps on talking about this fight with Chito Vera, which is great because it gives me something to talk about. Says a lot about him, but I don't think it necessarily says what you guys think it says. And we're going to talk about that though, because this kid, he's got it, man. He has it. He's got it, okay? He is a superstar. And we're going to talk about that in a second. But first, if you like the content, subscribe, ring the bell. If you've never subscribed, and I've asked you a million times, like, come on, man. Like, I don't make money doing this yet, right? I mean, I make a little bit of money, but not enough to where, like, it's unreasonable for me to ask you to just subscribe to the channel so I can see positive feedback. Jeez. Anyway, so subscribe, ring the bell. Now, also, before I talk about Sean O'Malley, I launched a new channel, Jesse on Everything, okay? So I put up one video day before yesterday, and I'm going to be putting up another one today, and today is the banger, okay? So the guys that were asking for this channel primarily were doing so in response to the UFO video that I did, and then the one about a word that I'm choosing to avoid the algorithm with, but I'll imitate them. Bye-bye city. Okay? So I did a video about that. If you haven't watched that, it's on this channel. And people were like, dude, do more videos like that. Well, I got one for you. And this one is exceptional. I watched it this morning. I think on the fly. I'm telling you, I am not making this up. I take a topic that I have lots of sporadic information about, and the way that I disseminate that information is by doing the videos. And I can't explain it. It's like, how some rappers can just kind of flow. I can't rhyme 3 words, but I can do this. And and you'll see the video that I posted today, or will post today, which will probably be up by now, is fire. And it's about global domination and artificial intelligence, and the person who is going to be the arbiter of all information on Earth, and who is going to be the most powerful person in the history of the planet if he is successful in the current project that he is working on. But you're going to have to watch the video to understand exactly what I'm laying out. But so anyway, so let's talk about Sean O'Malley. So Sean O'Malley is a superstar, okay? A superstar. And if there was any doubt about that before, that is gone now. Okay, what's hilarious is I think most people are probably watching him right now and they're like, this guy is delusional and he's an idiot, right? He's an idiot. And I'll tell you the moment when I went, oh, I see what's going on. He's a genius and he has it, okay? So one thing that should have been a dead giveaway that he's as big a star as he was being laid out to be was the hair thing, right? Like, the hair thing is genius, right? It's genius. He comes out with Tekashi hair, and that's all anybody talks about. And so does he go, for this fight, I mean, they love the rainbow hair, right? No. He's like, I'm going to do my hair the colors of the Ecuadorian flag. Maybe they'll talk about that all week, right? So it's bap. Get him talking, right? So he loses this fight. Okay, now he has fully acknowledged that he got kicked in the perennial nerve, and it gave him ankle roll or dead foot or whatever, and he sprained his ankle. Okay, so he's acknowledging that fact, and somehow he is saying in his mind that he's still undefeated and that loss doesn't really count. Okay, now here's the thing: there are 2 sides to that way of looking at it, right? Now, and let me actually rewind. even fighters are now coming out and being like, dude, take your loss, man. Like Darren Till was like, take your loss, bro. Like, it's fine. You're going to have a long, excellent career. Take your loss. Like, take your medicine, man. Just acknowledge that you lost. And lots of people are saying that, right? I would say that the shift in public opinion about Sean O'Malley has been swift and drastic, right? I mean, like, I would say going into the fight, he had 80% support. I mean, everybody's watching him. There's always going to be haters. There are always going to be haters. Always. And the better a person does, the faster that they do that well, the more people are going to hate on them, right? Like when we did the live stream, me and Matt Sales wants to fight him. Matt Sales wants to punch him in the face. You could tell, right? Like Matt Sales is like, you could just see he's biting his lip. He's like, yeah, I don't know. You know, Matt Sales is a fighter, right? He sees somebody who's got some shine. He wants to go take it from them because that is the mentality of a champion fighter. And also, that is the fight game. If someone has something, I mean, look at how you determine who the champion is. You give them this object, this arbitrary object. Why does it have to be a belt? A belt? Like a belt. It's just always been a belt. So it's like, here, you're the champion. You get this belt. And then every other fighter's like, I want that belt. You know? You always want to take the thing that the other person has. Now, just because a person doesn't have a belt, okay, you think that they don't have something that you want to take? You think Sean O'Malley doesn't have anything that people want to take? They want to take his hype, okay? The hype is the belt just equates to respect and hype. So if someone has hype, they're like, I want to go take that from him, right? You can just see it. I have yet to see a fighter who is not a superstar themselves kind of have any reaction whatsoever to Sean O'Malley except, you know, and they're not hating because they're like haters. They're fighters, right? They're fighters. They want to go take what he's got. So, listen, here's the thing. When he says that he's undefeated still, right? And he refuses to give credit to Chito Vera, he could be like being a prick about it just because he's actually a prick, right? Or he could be a champion who knows in his mind he needs to stay champion-minded. And so just even entertaining the idea that he lost, that's not going to work for his worldview. Or he's got it and he's a superstar, okay? Superstar. Where he's like, I'm just going to say whatever that's going to keep him talking, you know? And what I'm shocked about is I'm not hearing him call for a rematch. Like that's the one thing that's missing. Like, of course they fight again. That is the fight to make. Of course he wants that fight. Like, you want to get that back, don't you? You think he's going to kick you in the perennial nerve again? You know? Like, that's the whole thing. He's like, yeah, he got me in the perennial. He's like, it's lucky. And he's right. It is lucky. Okay? You know, you do a calf kick and then maybe once in a million you kick somebody and it gets them right on the nerve. It's like hitting your funny bone. Is there a funny bone kick? You know what I mean? It's like, it's a fluke thing. But they should fight again. What other fight is there for the two of them that's a better matchup than that? Right? Like you can't have Sean go up the rankings, and there's certainly nobody that's going to be a bigger fight for Chito. So they should be rematching. And I'm surprised that Sean's not asking for that. But the point is, in that statement that he made, where he was like, I'm still undefeated, and maybe I sound stupid. He's like, I don't know, maybe I sound dumb, but you know, I'm not really that smart. Or maybe I am that smart because you guys are all commenting and hating and watching my videos, and you know what? I get paid when you guys do that. So maybe I am that smart. And he said that, and I was like, oh, he's a genius. He gave the game away to anybody who's a trained eye observer, okay? He gave it away. I mean, he directly said it, right? So when you're looking at him and you're going, man, he's not showing any respect. He needs to take that loss like a man. It's like, yeah, or not, because he just got an extra, $5,000 because he said that he wasn't going to take it like a man. Like, okay, so there's $0 in taking it like a man, or a rematch and $5,000 or probably more than that when I continue to make videos about it, in saying that I don't take it like a man. No, I don't take it like a man. I'm still undefeated. Fluke. Pay up, sucker. Now, which is going to make people watch him more? Okay, I know I went over this before, but which is going to make him more like, a lightning rod that people want to pay attention to? Him going, ho hum, shouldn't have been coloring my hair. I really should have been focused more on my fighting skills. You know, if I wasn't busy promoting myself with these silly hair dyeing thing, then I probably could have had a better chance of not getting kicked in the nerve. And then, you know, I really feel like my skills might be good enough. Like I might be good enough to beat Chito had I not gotten so carried away with all this media. But Chito's a better man than me that night. And so back to the drawing board. Or, yeah, I'll crush that guy. Okay. If we fought 100 times, he wins I win 99.8 of them. Okay. That's how fluky it is to kick me in the perennial nerve. Matter of fact, probably more like 99.9, right? He might win 1 out of 1,000 times. So congratulations, you won the lottery, Chito Vera. Let's fight again. And I'll tell you what, if you don't kick me in the perennial nerve, I give you 1 in 1,000 of winning, okay? So let's do this again. Let's run it back. You little baby. Why don't you go parade around and tell all your friends about what you did? Oh, look at me. I beat Sean O'Malley. Look at what I did. I beat Sean O'Malley because I kicked him in the perennial nerve, you know? I beat Sean O'Malley because he stubbed his toe on the way to the octagon. You baby. Let's run it back. See what happens. Let's see what happens, right? Let's run it back. I mean, because you were having so much success before you landed the luckiest kick in the history of the world. Like, I mean, pretty sure that was the first strike that you landed. And I don't think you were going to land anymore had it not been for my one leg, okay? Tell you what, I'll kick you in the perennial nerve, and then let's see how you do after that, okay? Now, if you weren't targeting it, then it's lucky, which means your entire win is a fluke, and it's luck. So, anybody who's got a problem with that, buy the pay-per-view, and then watch Chito get buried again, right? You're like, you know, I really prefer the one that took it like a man, you know? Really took the loss like a man. That's the one that I'm going to pay the pay-per-view to see. Give me a break, man. Fight game. So, yeah, it makes me like him more, to be perfectly honest with you. It does. And it's because now I know he's doing it because his fight game IQ is exponentially higher than I gave him credit for. That was the one thing that I didn't really see yet. You know, like he's so exciting in the octagon. He's got the right look, you know, he's perfect look, right? Float like a butterfly, sting like a bee. This big on his, you know, on the side of his torso. Rainbow hair, tats on the face. It's just like, I'm all in that I'm a fighter. I'm a ninja, professional ninja. And yeah. But in terms of him on the microphone, that was the one place where I was like, yeah, he's cool. He's kind of got that like stoner thing, like half stoner, half cocky thing going, you know? But you never know how smart those guys are in terms of their strategy. Like Conor, you know, everything he does is like bulletproof strategic, like bulletproof mind strategic, right? And Nate Diaz is like another guy where it's like, you know, is this guy just an utter moron or is he a genius? I mean, honestly, I honestly don't know. I have no idea. I know he beat the piss out of me. I know that for sure. But in terms of whether he has implemented incredibly genius strategy or he just got lucky and beat Conor McGregor one time and then became a superstar, I don't know. But I do know that keeping it real is never a bad thing if you are doing things that people want to pay attention to. So I see, you know, someone said that Sean O'Malley is a mix between Conor McGregor, Nate Diaz, and Tekashi 6ix9ine. And I thought that was so funny, man. I was like, that's almost like exactly right. That's like dead on, honestly. If you were going to mash 3 people together, you know, fight like Conor, kind of got that like cocky look like Conor, but your attitude is kind of meshed with Nate Diaz, and you have tattoos on your face and you have rainbow hair. So anyway, but yeah, so I would love to see them fight again soon, right? Like that's like, I don't understand. This is another thing I don't understand. Okay. When there's a fight like that, right? Okay. First of all, let me just say, I don't know how injured Sean O'Malley is. Okay. I'm assuming that he's not that injured. I'm assuming that his ankle, you know, he got kicked in the perennial nerve and he had a dead foot, like, and you know, they're saying that his ankle was banged up afterwards, but I'm assuming that it's not like injured, you know, like it's not like injured where he can't train right now, but I do not know that. Okay. So let's say that assuming that he can train, Like, that's a quick fight that neither of them, I don't know, actually, that's not really true. Okay, it's not a great example, okay? I guess a better way to point this out would be to say, when guys win fights very, very quickly and basically take absolutely no punishment whatsoever, I don't understand why they don't get turned around much faster. So, like, as an example, when Francis Ngannou fights Francis Rosenstreich and knocks him out in 20 seconds, okay? 20 seconds. The very first exchange that they throw, and Rosenstreich is, you know, why is Francis still unbooked? I mean, I know. I mean, I get it. I know he's waiting for a title shot, but like, I don't know, man. Like, just come, you know? Like, Masvidal knocks out Askren in 5 seconds. He can fight the next day. He can fight that night. Like, these guys, I mean, 100%, they can just fight that night. You know? I want to see them turned around faster, right? I think the point I'm making as it relates to Chito and Sean O'Malley is let's just have him fight again. If Sean's ready, if he's up and ready, I mean, I'm sure he could be ready in a month or two. Let's get that on the books. Come on, right? Because I want Sean O'Malley's career to get moving, you know? Like, I want it to move. And so the obvious next fight for him is Chito Vera, unless they want to do a thing where Chito has another fight, Sean O'Malley has another fight, then they do the rematch. I don't know. I mean, they have to rematch. They have to rematch. You know, Chito's won 6 of his last 7 and finished all of them. Like, he's not like some sucker, you know? I mean, obviously. So, I don't know. They got to get that thing on the books. But I feel like there was something else I wanted to talk about with Sean O'Malley, and I'm forgetting. But, you know, whatever. That's just what I've got, you know? So subscribe to the channel, ring the bell, tell your friends, and